Welcome back to the news at 10. Let's take a look at some business news now. Here's Kayode Okikiolu.
Thank you, Joma, and you're welcome to Business News. Fitch Ratings has downgraded Nigeria's long-term foreign currency issuer default rating to B from B+ with a negative outlook. The global ratings firm cites the country's precarious monetary and exchange rate policy and lack of fiscal buffers as a reason for the downgrade. According to Fitch, the downgrade and negative outlook reflects the aggravation of ongoing pressures on Nigeria's external finances following the recent slump in oil prices and the COVID-19 pandemic shock. Fitch projects the general government deficit will widen to 5.8% of GDP in 2020, and that's from 3.8% in 2019. Fitch expects GDP to bounce back by 4.4% in 2021, assuming a gradual normalization of economic activity and stable oil production. Speaking of oil, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Mr. Timipre Silva, says Nigeria will take positions that will favor its economic forecast at the rescheduled OPEC Plus emergency meeting, which is set for Thursday. The minister who made this statement who made this disclosure in a statement he signed hints that the country intends to maintain this team spirit, even as it takes into account the position of OPEC's strategic allies, such as Russia. Mr. Sylvia notes that Nigeria had always collaborated with key OPEC members such as Saudi Arabia in maintaining a balanced position that had helped to make OPEC one of the most successful global institutions in recent histories. Well, the domestic equities market begins the second trading week of April on a deeply negative note, and this follows a fresh round of sell-off on the shares of Dangote Cement. Bisi Adebayo tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. The equities market had a slow start to the week by 2.02%, plunging the all-share index into the 20,000 psychological position after a heavy sell down on industrial giants Dangote Cement and Boa Cement. Activity level rose beyond the 30-day average with over 336 million units of shares traded for 4.1 billion naira in 4,184 deals, a dominant on the top trades chart of the banking names, which helped to moderate losses for this session. With a positive market breadth of 21 gainers to 13 losers, Access Bank took the lead ahead of ICO, while Cutix, Learn Africa and NACO were the biggest losers, down by 10% apiece. And that's it on the Stock Market Report. I'm Bisi Adebayo.
Coscharis Group, a Nigerian conglomerate, has donated 3,000 bags of rice to the Lagos State government to be distributed to residents across the state as part of relief for the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the executive director in charge of after-sales and special duties, Cosmas Maduka Jr., the gesture is part of the company's corporate social responsibility.
Driving into a warehouse in Ikeja area of Lagos State is a loaded truck sent in by Coscharis Group, a wholly owned Nigerian conglomerate. A look inside shows 3,000 bags of 10 kilograms of rice, all meant to help cushion the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on the vulnerable residents of Lagos State while the lockdown lasts.
We're doing our own little bit of CSR by contributing bags of rice to Lagos State, and hopefully it can reach those in need at this time. It's the first phase of what we are planning to do for Lagos State and other states where we currently operate in. As we see need, we intend to discuss with different governments or organizations and see how we can partner to bring aid or some form of relief to the citizens of the state and the country.
The consignments are handed over to officials of the Lagos State Ministry of Agriculture, who are grateful for the support.
On behalf of Mr. Governor, I want to receive the 3,000 10 kg rice from Coscharis Limited. We want to thank them for their support for the people of Lagos State, and we assure them that the rice we get to the target beneficiaries who are the vulnerables in the society.
The state government has the capacity to give and share this kind of donations to the relevant segment of the society. Of course, the government authority, they have the wherewithal, they have the structures, and that's why you can see that there's the Ministry of Agric of Lagos State that is also taking care of this.
Coscharis Group owns businesses across various sectors of the Nigerian economy, and according to them, they are ready to make more donations as the need arises.
And more contributions are pouring in. This time is from Arise Women, a charity organization donating medical supplies to the Lagos State COVID-19 response team. The relief materials include 4,000 sanitizers, 20,000 gloves and 4,000 face masks to help medical personnel on the front line.
An act of benevolence by the Arise Women, championed by Dr. Shiju Iliomade, under the umbrella of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. They join other well-meaning Nigerians to donate medical supplies to the Lagos State government at the mainland hospital, Yaba, where one of the isolation centers is located. The representative of the Arise Women's team commends the government's efforts.
Well, the whole world is concerned about this pandemic. It's so obvious and it's so blaring. And everybody has to put you can't leave it alone to the government. So all the NGOs are coming about, and Arise Women is the foremost NGO. They've looked around to see what they can do to help the situation. And that's why they've been able to provide a ventilator and all these consumables.
The Lagos State COVID-19 response team says the containment of the coronavirus pandemic remains a priority.
Lagos State government is putting a lot of support, huge support in terms of resources into this response, and the federal government is also, one way or the other supporting, this response in terms of human resources to ensure that we contain this COVID-19 and it becomes a thing of the past.
The Arise Women hopes the donation of these medical supplies will help to bring some relief as the COVID-19 battle continues.
And more donations of medical supplies have come from a law firm, Olaniwun Ajayi LP, to the Lagos State government to help step up its fight against the coronavirus pandemic. Managing partner at the firm, Professor Koinsola Ajayi, says the state needs all the help it can get.
Lagos is, as we all know, the commercial nerve center of the country, the fifth largest economy in Africa, and happens to be the epicenter of coronavirus in Nigeria. So it becomes very important that all of us must do something to help the government and the people, not just of Lagos, but of Nigeria as a whole, because Lagos is a melting point. So what we've done as a law firm is to discuss with the government and look at their needs. And what we have done is to buy for them essential equipment by way of 30 oxygen tanks, 15 oxygen concentrators, 30 suction machines, 150 PPEs, and 150 scrubs.
Still ahead on the news at 10, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson taken into intensive care unit in hospital after his coronavirus symptoms worsened. And more from our London bureau in Around the World in 5. That's on sports as well. Just stay with us.